Greetings and welcome to Deck Talk number 1. Each week I'll provide a brief overview of what to expect in the coming week. Hopefully this will pique your interest for the week's topical areas. It's not meant to be comprehensive, but to get you thinking about your upcoming assignments for the week, both the readings and the assignments. So with that in mind, let's get into our first week's readings. This week, we're going to examine something that every one of you deals with, whether you call it that or not: engagement. Not press conferences, not public relations, not damage control. Real engagement. In public safety, we operate environments where authority is clear, but legitimacy is constantly tested. We can enforce policy, we can manage operations, but we cannot command trust. The readings this week push us to think differently about how trust is built or broken. One piece challenges us to distinguish between managing stakeholders and actually engaging them. There's a difference. Managing is about control. Engagement requires listening and sometimes adjusting course. That's uncomfortable territory for many, especially for organizations built on a command structure. Another reading asks us to rethink communication itself. What if communication isn't just about getting the message out? What if the way we communicate actually shapes the relationship between the agency and the community? In other words, every town hall, every policy rollout, every critical incident briefing, those aren't just information exchanges. They are moments that either reinforce or build connections. And then there's a question of participation. We often assume that if we invite people to the table, trust will follow. But does it? Or can participation backfire if it feels symbolic, controlled, or insecure? That's the tension we'll explore this week. When does engagement strengthen institutional trust? When does it undermine it? And what does leadership look like in that space? For command staff, this is not theoretical. You are asked to operate in a politically charged environment, under scrutiny, with communities that may carry long memories, some positive, some not so much. The question is not whether engagement matters. The question is whether we are prepared to do it in a way that challenges outcomes, including our own assumptions. As you read this week, don't get lost in the terminology. Instead, ask yourself the following: where has engagement in your organization worked, and specifically why? Where has it failed, and what did that cost? And what would it take to move from controlled communications to meaningful dialogue? The deeper analysis will come with the follow-up videos. I've recorded a series of mini lectures for you to review that get in much more detail. But for now, I want you to think about this one thing. In today's environment, is authority enough, or is engagement the real strategic advantage? We'll pick this up next in our live session. And as this is the very first week, I want to close by welcoming you all to Creating and Sustaining Community Dialogue, and I look forward to a robust conversation later in the week.